Oh,
Okay,
okay. Good to know.
good to know.
Good to know.
That's new.
Slay 27. We're being
27.
recorded. Still rocking the spooky vibes. I'm a pirate today, clearly.
I'm a little pizza hat guy looking guy. It's not, it's just a party hat, but it looks like a little pizza slice from here, as far as I can see.
Oh, it's supposed to be like a party hat that looks like a slice of pizza. I thought you just had a slice of pizza on your head.
Uh,
I, I see
I think
now the party hat. But it could just be a slice of pizza on your head. I don't know.
whatever's clever. I love it.
Whatever. Slay 27. What you watching?
Slight. Tonight I'm gonna watch a movie that not a lot of people have seen, but it's one of my favorite slasher type movies, and that's Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, now that, like I said, a lot of people that I know have never really seen that movie, but I like it because to me, it blends a lot of really cool elements from horror movies all together into one, and it's more like modern age.
Hmm.
Because like the whole first half of this movie is done like the found footage type movies. Like somebody's just a whole documentary crews recording this guy, and he's playing off of like Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger type of slasher killer. So he's explaining all those old '80s slasher
Yeah,
movies,
yeah.
and even in that universe, they reference them as if they were real people. Like all these
Hmm.
iconic killers are all well and alive in this universe, and Leslie Vernon here is trying to become his own thing now.
Yeah.
And have you seen this one?
I have. It has been forever since I've seen it. So it's not very fresh
I
in my
just
mind.
I just really like at the point where like they're the little college documentary
Yeah.
crews, bless you, not cool with what he's doing no more,
Yeah.
and so they're like, we should leave, and then the girl's like, nah, we got to help these kids out. And then it's like the camera guy puts his camera down and it goes into just being a regular movie.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, they're in the movie now. Like they fucked up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The first time I ever watched that, I really enjoyed all those little aspects of this movie. Not at all what I was expecting. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought the main guy who plays Leslie Vernon, I thought he tried to act like Jim Carrey too much.
From what I remember, I do kind of vaguely remember that. That's a good pick. That's one worth revisiting for sure. Like I said, I only ever saw it the one time, but I agree with everything you're saying from that one viewing. And I think after probably over 10 years at this point, it's definitely well worth a revisit with
Yeah, it's
some
fun.
fresh eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those fun movies that again, like I said, just wasn't what I was expecting going into it, especially with it being like found footage the first half. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, not what I was expecting. The end was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I really like their take on doing another slasher but in a different style.
Yeah. What year did that come out? Because
Hold
I
on, I
feel
should have it pulled up. It came out in 2006.
2006. Yeah. So it kind of predated some of the, well, I mean, obviously we had uh, found footage before then, but it had its boom the year after
Oh
when,
yeah, they probably played more off of Blair Witch and shit
yeah,
like that than like Paranormal Activities.
right.
But yeah, just a
Yeah.
little bit too soon. I feel like if it would have probably waited a year, it probably would
Ahead
have
of
been a
its
little bit
time.
bigger. Yeah,
Ahead of its
been a
time.
little bit bigger than it was. But honestly, solid pick if you've never seen it. Let me see. Let me pull it up to see where it says you can view it. We haven't done that in any of these.
That's
If
true.
you've got Sling TV, a premium subscription, you can watch it there. If you've got a premium subscription to Amazon Prime, you can watch it there. If not, you can buy it.
Yeah. Low key, Amazon Prime is one of my favorite spots for Halloween movies. I just think I think it just flies under the radar. Like the only things that ever really promotes are like it's Welcome to the Blumhouse and like whatever is like new. But like as far as like if you're looking for just some like I don't know, just random old school shit, Amazon Prime's got you hooked up. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
much all I used last October was I watch all sorts of things I'd never seen before
I
on
think it even
Amazon
has like the
Prime.
old ones too on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can find all sorts of stuff on Amazon Prime. They're being sneaky about it, but Prime is the place for Halloween for sure. They're just being chill about it while everybody else is like Halloween. uh, well, I'm gonna drop another franchise on everybody. We've been watching Chucky, the new TV show, and that inspired me to go down the Child's Play rabbit hole because I had never seen most of them, other than uh, the original and the remake, which the remake was one of our original 25 Slays of Christmas.
Yeah.
Still, after having watched all of them now, I still got to say that the remake is still my favorite of the bunch. It just hits a little different for me, I guess. I just like the way they did it, but that still doesn't beat classic Chucky. I mean, like I like Child's Play as a like the remake as a movie, but OG Chucky, I mean, he's an OG for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, and I know we started to get into it a little bit talking about this series. Um, Definitely a roller coaster of a series. It's easy to say that
Yeah.
one through three is definitely one vibe. Uh, Bride and Seed is another vibe, and then those last two are another vibe as well. That's kind of running into this TV series now. Um, but I know for me, like I get it. I totally get the people who don't like Bride and Seed of Chucky. Like I totally understand it. But like when I was younger, that's the first exposure I ever got to Chucky was those two movies. I remember when Seed came out. I remember all the advertising they did for it, like the marketing, like the posters, the commercials. I remember all that shit. And then they'd play those two on TV all the time. And so this was my first time actually watching those movies, like start to finish, not in their TV versions. Which I this time around, I'm like, oh, I might as well have not seen the movie at all, having watched it on TV, because there's just
Yeah.
so much that it's obviously getting cut out. And I don't mind it. I think if there's any character that kind of humor lent itself to, it was Chucky. And so I get where other people were like, "Oh man, these movies kind of ruined Chucky as a horror icon." Well, he was never a horror icon to me. Like he was always like my first exposure were those sillier movies, and then I backtracked. So it's like, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still a scary concept. Just this little fucker running around, slicing and dicing people. Uh, but I did notice with going right off of binge and Final Destination, and then going into this series, I think it happens anytime you binge any sort of movie series, especially if it's a horror franchise. You start picking up on the things that happen in every single fucking movie that you're just like,
Hmm.
come on. You're telling me the writers didn't sit down and think to themselves, let's try to not do this time. Uh, because after a while it's just like, can somebody just believe somebody when they're like Chucky did it? It's just like, you got all these news articles, this shit has happened over and over and over again, and you're going to tell me that you're still like, hmm, I don't think so. Like there are literal witnesses still alive to this day who know that Chucky did it. And
Well, I feel like the TV show is gonna show that
yeah.
because at some point, all these people are gonna be on there that were from the movies.
Hmm. Yeah, I
So,
saw they didn't put episode 3 on YouTube, so I was like, oh, guess that's done. guess
oh really?
guess I'll catch up on this series later. But
I watched the third episode myself already. So,
I still need to watch it. This is one I am determined to watch because I'm really digging it so far. I am curious, like like you were saying, I am curious to see where this is going, the TV show, in regards to the continuity of the franchise. Um, and that's one
I
thing
think
that I appreciate about the Child's Play franchise is that out of every slasher franchise ever, it seems to be the only one that maintains continuity. Like no matter what. Even Seed of Chucky, that's their bastard child of a film that nobody wants to talk about. Even they still reference stuff. Like I dug that up until like Curse of Chucky, they pretty much just bleed right into the next one. Like they always just pick up where the last one left off, and I personally dug that a lot about these movies. I will
Yeah.
say, oh, go ahead.
Well, like as far as the TV show, it seems to be playing more into Charles Lee Ray's childhood.
Yeah,
What drove his psyche to become a maniac killer that we know, and then obviously because I like I said, I've seen the third episode, and I believe that's even asked of him, and he's like, "How the fuck you think? Like I got possessed into adult, like because that it picks up with him and the kid talking,
hmm
and the kid's like, how'd you become like this? And he's like, I got possessed into a fucking doll. What the hell do you think? And he's like, no, I mean like,
as a killer.
a murderer. Like you were obviously a fucking serial killer before you were in the doll. So that
Yeah,
seems to be where the TV show is playing. And then, like I said, like I've already seen, we've already seen in the show, Andy
hmm
call. And so like, all the characters from the movies and stuff are coming in. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting. Like those are the people that I'm waiting to see those, if the people from like Curse and Cult come into
yeah.
play.
Especially how Cult ends. Like I'm particularly curious about how that's going to play into it, because the only thing I can think of is the whole like multiple Chucky doll thing, and that's part of like what's playing into this. Uh, but I don't know. I don't know, and I still don't know how I felt about those last two. Like, there's something about them that just like felt weird to me. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Seemed cheap, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you get straight to DVD Chucky movies, but
Yeah.
that's bound to
It's
happen.
it's it's good though. Like I don't know, man. Like that was the movie when I was a kid that terrified me. I'll
Oh,
never
for sure.
forget coming downstairs late at night one night to, bother my parents probably about something, and they were watching Child's Play, and it was, I believe, the end of the first one when he's coming out of the fireplace,
Mm.
all on fire and shit. And no, dude, I was fucking terrified from that point forward
Oh
to
yeah.
him. I was like, that was the scariest shit I'd ever seen. How the fuck does that happen? How does a doll move like that? And funny enough, like, this followed me to kindergarten, first day of preschool. First day of preschool, my mom got a call and they were like, yo, your son won't stop screaming. We don't know what's wrong with him. He's just screaming. He's terrified. And my mom went in there to come pick me up, and she saw they had a Mr. Good Guy doll, and it's like,
Mm.
that right there is, or one that looked like him. I don't know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
those
yeah.
dolls were really a thing, but one that looked identical, and that right there is your problem. He doesn't like that, and I nope. They got rid of that, and then I'm fine. And then I was, like I said, I was terrified of him up until I had a dream one night when I was a kid that Chucky came and picked me up in a limousine and was wearing like a suit, and he had his hair all slicked back, and he was nice. And he took me over to the arcade. We played a bunch of games and shit, and I was like, yo, this is dope.
He was your
And then
friend till the end.
he dropped me off, and he's like, see, Aaron, I don't always kill and stuff like that. Like, and I was like, you're right, dude. And he's like, you got nothing to be afraid of. And I was like, you're right. And then from that point forward, I was fine watching all the movies and anything Chucky related.
That is a beautiful tale.
That's how those movies have went in my life.
Hell yeah. Honestly, Chucky freaked me out before I even ever saw those movies, just because I'd heard people talk about Chucky, the killer doll, and that's all it took. And like I had a great grandma who had like a collection of like old dolls and shit, and like I hated sleeping in the living room with those things. Like
I'm telling you, the movie advertisement to Child's Play 2 scared the shit out of me.
was that the
I didn't
Jack in
like,
the Box? So what that was?
yeah, and he had the big scissors and stuff to
Yeah.
cut it and shit. Yeah, and like they'd have like a big, cardboard display of that shit at the
Yeah.
movie theaters when we'd be there, and little Aaron want to walk on the whole opposite side of the fucking room because I was like, hell no, dude, I do not like that. I just, I don't know. It's funny now, that I'm into all
Right.
this shit.
Yeah.
So
It's usually how it goes, I feel like. That shit that always
I
freaks
was
you out as a kid.
traumatized enough. I gave in.
All right. It's a good time. So yeah, that ought to keep you busy. Slate 27.
Slate
Uh
27 for you.
the whole Child's Play franchise and Behind the Mask, The
Behind the
Rise of
mask.
Leslie Vernon.
Yeah.
And you can watch all of Child's Play except for the first one. I don't know where the first one is, but you can watch just about all of it on Peacock for free. That's how I did it. And I know the remake is over on Hulu, so I'm assuming the original is probably there as well. Uh, Catch that TV show, at least the first 2 episodes on YouTube. And then, you can pirate the rest of it. Arg.
They're out there, man. Go hit the bay.
It's like 27. We're
Slate
almost there.
27. Hope you're enjoying your spooky season. Smooches and deuces.
Peace.